The Houston Texans' resurgence in 2023 had CJ Stroud's insane rookie season stealing the headlines, but there was another star fueling this revival, Nico Collins. With the 8th most receiving yards in the 2023 NFL season, Collins officially arrived as one of the NFL's elite wideouts. Hard to believe, right? Especially when you realize that in the 2021 NFL Draft, 13 wide receivers were picked before him. How did that happen? Today, we're diving into the shocking story of the wide receivers taken before the Texans' breakout star, Nico Collins. Before the Texans' massive turnaround, they had been a franchise wallowing in mediocrity since 2019, finishing the 2020 season at 4-12. Now fully in rebuild mode, they traded 4th and 5th picks along with a 2022 4th rounder to the Carolina Panthers to move up from 109th to 89th in the 2021 draft, all to ensure they could grab Nico Collins, who the Houston front office felt could help turn the franchise around. This show of faith meant the world to Collins, who opted out of his junior season at Michigan due to COVID, which saw his draft stock fall despite strong performances at his pro day and at the Senior Bowl. He was largely projected as a 2nd or 3rd round pick because, despite his impressive 6'4" frame, he struggled to gain separation on routes in college. In his rookie season, Collins put up a respectable 446 yards and 1 touchdown with Davis Mills under center, in a season where the Texans finished 4-13. His second season was marginally better, with 481 yards and 2 touchdowns, even though the Texans were still very much rebuilding, ending 2022 3-13-1. They selected CJ Stroud 2nd overall in the 2023 draft, and the rest you can probably recall. Collins put up career highs last season with his 1,297 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns, better than his previous 2 years combined. He is on track to beat those numbers in the 2024 NFL season with yet another strong start for the Texans. Now, 3 years on from that fateful 2021 draft, some of these wideouts picked before Collins appear understandable, while others possibly need more time, and some are just outright shocking. Here are all 13 of the wide receivers selected before Nico Collins in the 2021 NFL Draft. Jamar Chase had a stellar career at LSU and was a crucial part of their 2019 team that won the national championship in style. He set school records and led the FBS in receiving yards and touchdowns, along with winning the Biletnikoff as a sophomore. The guy was a beast. Like Collins, Chase opted out of the 2020 season but remained high on draft boards for the absolute show that he put on tape in 2019. With the 5th overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals reunited him with college QB Joe Burrow, and the duo hadn't seemed to miss a step. Chase led the team in receiving yards and touchdowns with 1,455 and 13 respectively, setting a wide variety of rookie records en route to the Super Bowl, snapping the Bengals' 30-year-long playoff curse in the process. Though Cincinnati came up short, Chase won Offensive Rookie of the Year, all but proving he was worth the high draft pick immediately. Although Jamar Chase hasn't replicated the record-breaking stats of his rookie year, he has consistently remained the Bengals' go-to wide receiver 1, earning multiple Pro Bowl selections. His talent is undeniable, and he continues to be a dominant force, regularly ranking among the league leaders in receiving touchdowns. The Dolphins sat at number 6 in the 2021 draft, and looked to strengthen their wide receiver room by selecting Jalen Waddle out of Alabama. Yet another reunion of a college QB wide receiver duo as he joined an offense led by Tua Tagovailoa. Waddle went for over 1,000 receiving yards and set a rookie record for receptions in 2021 with 104. His best season came in 2022, following the addition of elite veteran Tyreek Hill with 1,356 receiving yards for 8 touchdowns, averaging a league-best 18.1 yards per reception. Miami's explosive offense was on full display the following season as well, as Waddle also ended 2023 with over 1,000 receiving yards. The Finns finished an admirable 11-6, falling to the Chiefs in the wildcard round. 2024 has been especially unkind to Miami, with heaps of uncertainty about the future of the franchise, which may have a significant effect on Waddle's career going forward. The Eagles traded up to the 10th spot in order to snatch Waddle's Alabama teammate and recent Heisman winner, Devontae Smith. He too was reunited with one of his college QBs in Jalen Hurts, and coming off of a massive 2020 in Bama where Smith won his 2nd national championship, he was ready to go to work at the Link. He finished his rookie season just shy of 1,000 receiving yards, but still led the team with 916 and 5 touchdowns. Similar to Waddle, the offseason acquisition of an elite talent in A.J. Brown led to Smith's numbers rising in 2022 as well. Devontae notched 1,196 yards for 7 touchdowns en route to a Super Bowl appearance, where he went for 100 receiving yards in a loss to the Chiefs. 2023 was a similarly strong year, with another 1,000-yard season and 7 touchdowns, though the Eagles' showing in the playoffs was rather lackluster without A.J. Brown. However, Smith still managed to record 148 receiving yards in the playoff loss to the Bucs. At pick 20, the New York Giants selected Kadarius Toney from the University of Florida. A senior who burst onto the scene in the Gators 2020 campaign, Toney broke OBJ's rookie receiving record for a single game with 189 yards versus the Cowboys. He missed multiple games through injury in his rookie year, which he finished with 420 yards and no touchdowns. Toney was traded to the Kansas City Chiefs in October of 2022, putting on a show in the Super Bowl with a record-breaking 65-yard punt return and the go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter, which proved to be decisive in a win against the Eagles. His second season in KC brought him a second consecutive Super Bowl ring, but under far less glorious circumstances. A 2023 full of drops, lapses in concentration, incessant injury, and beef with the Chiefs organization saw him listed as injured through the playoffs and inactive for Super Bowl 58, despite his insistence that he was able to play. Toney was subsequently dropped by the Chiefs in the 2024 offseason and ended up signing to the Cleveland Browns practice squad. Rashad Bateman from the University of Minnesota was the last receiver taken in the first round, selected by the Baltimore Ravens with the 27th pick. Bateman missed part of his rookie year through injury, though he finished an underwhelming season for the Ravens, third in receptions and receiving yards behind Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown. His 2022 was cut short by a foot injury, though he was on track to top his rookie numbers by a significant margin with an improved role in the side. He once again failed to match his rookie year in 2023 with only 367 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. The Ravens liked what they saw from Bateman, though, signing him to a 3-year, $15 million extension in the offseason. He started the 2024 NFL season strong, having already tied his career best in TDs by the end of Week 5, so it remains to be seen if he can repay Baltimore's faith in him. The first wide receiver to go in the second round was Elijah Moore of Ole Miss, headed to the Jets 34th overall. He was joining up with fellow rookie QB Zach Wilson in New York, where Moore became the wide receiver 1 for a 4-13 Jet side. He led the team with 538 yards and 5 touchdowns, a promising output from the rookie. The Jets drafted Garrett Wilson in the first round of the 2022 draft, significantly diminishing Moore's role in the offense, which led to him requesting a trade. He was sent to Cleveland along with a third-round pick in exchange for a second-round pick, and had a career-best 640 receiving yards and 59 receptions for the Browns as a wide receiver 2 behind Amari Cooper. 15 picks later, the Arizona Cardinals took Rondale Moore from Purdue, a player who won the Paul Hornung Award for his versatility in college. Moore was drafted as a wide receiver, but didn't light up Arizona, never managing more than 450 receiving yards in any single season, with only 3 touchdowns across his 3 years in the NFL. Despite an explosive college career, Moore's transition to the NFL didn't go as planned, leading to his trade to Atlanta in exchange for Desmond Ridder. However, he won't see action for the Falcons in 2024 after sustaining a season-ending knee injury during training camp. Dwayne Eskridge of Western Michigan was pick 56 for the Seattle Seahawks after leading the MAC in receiving yards during his senior year. Eskridge's production didn't at all translate to the league, thus far unable to manage over 30 receiving or rushing yards in a season. He was waived by the Seahawks in 2024 and signed to the Dolphins practice squad. The last 2 receivers selected in the second round of the 2021 draft, Tutu Atwell and Terrace Marshall Jr., have had fairly unremarkable pro careers thus far. Atwell only played special teams for the Rams as a rookie, but eventually saw more time as a receiver, almost going for 500 receiving yards in 2023. On an injury-ravaged Rams roster, the Louisville alum has taken on a larger role in 2024 and is on track for his best season yet. Terrace Marshall Jr. swapped LSU Tigers for Carolina Panthers, a franchise locked in a never-ending rebuild, which left Marshall with a disappointing rookie season. To be fair, I can't imagine trying to break into an offense spearheaded by DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey. It took until week 9 of 2022 for Marshall to grab his first touchdown, finishing the season with a career-best 490 yards. 2023 was abysmal for the entire franchise and saw the 2019 national champion waived just before the start of the 2024 season. He's now on the 49ers practice squad. Josh Palmer was the first receiver taken in the 3rd round, 77th overall by the Chargers. The former Vol has proved a reliable depth piece for LA across his 3 years in the league, with a career-high 4 touchdowns as a rookie, an admirable 769 receiving yards in his 2nd season, and an average 15.3 yards per reception in his 3rd. A decent wide receiver 3 in LA, the Chargers got more or less what they bargained for. UNC's De'Ami Brown was off the board 5 picks later, heading to a fairly destitute franchise in Washington that was still figuring out what to call itself. Brown has shown steady improvement as a backup in the league and has started the 2024 season better than any other, with the Commanders on fire. The last receiver picked before Nico Collins was Amari Rodgers. Green Bay traded up to the 85th overall pick to ensure that they could get their man from Clemson, who they primarily employed on special teams. His rookie season, Rodgers had 169 yards off punt returns and 199 off kickoffs. His 2nd season saw improved production on special teams, but a startling 6 fumbles, with Matt LaFleur taking him off return duties by week 10. He was released shortly after and picked up by Houston, where Rodgers saw an increased target share, recording his best ever receiving tally of 154 yards, along with his first and only career touchdown. He was then waived by the Texans before briefly being picked up by the Colts in 2023. Indianapolis waived him that same year, as Rodgers ended up signing with the USFL side Birmingham Stallions, who he has been with ever since. A mere 4 picks later, the Texans traded up to pick Nico Collins 89th overall, and the rest is quite literally history. It's incredible to look at how all of these careers panned out. It puts the complexity of the draft process into perspective, as it is nearly impossible to predict the trajectory of a young man's career with so many variables in play. So, after seeing this full list, if you could reorder the 2021 draft, where would you have selected Nico Collins? Was he slept on in this draft? And is he still slept on to this day? Let me know in the comments.